Imagine being one signature away from a $200 million deal that would secure your legacy forever. Now, imagine losing it all in a single heartbeat, not because of a bad business decision, but because of one ugly, thoughtless word said to a waitress. This is the story of how arrogance cost a CEO everything on the spot. The air in the private dining room of The Gilded Lantern was so thick with tension you could cut it with a steak knife. On one side of the mahogany table sat Arthur Vance, a titan of industry. Vance was a man carved from pure ego, with a tailored suit that cost more than a car and a smile that never quite reached his cold, calculating eyes. He was on the precipice of the biggest deal of his life, a $200 million merger that would make his company a global powerhouse. Across from him sat the man who held the key to this kingdom, Mr. Chen, a quiet, unassuming investor from Singapore. Unlike Vance, Mr. Chen wore a simple, elegant suit. He spoke little, but his eyes missed nothing. He observed everything with a serene patience that Vance mistook for weakness. For months, Vance had courted him, wined him, and dined him. Tonight was the final hurdle, a celebratory dinner before the contracts were signed the next morning. For Vance, this wasn't a dinner, it was a victory lap. All he had to do was not mess it up. The à la carte menu was presented by their waitress, Maya. She was a young black woman, poised and professional, with a warm smile that seemed to radiate genuine kindness. She moved with a quiet efficiency that spoke of experience. She was a university student, working nights to pay for her law degree, and she treated every customer with the same level of respect, whether they were ordering a glass of water or a vintage bottle of wine. Vance, eager to display his power and importance in front of Mr. Chen, began his performance. He dismissed Maya's recommendations with a wave of his hand. He complained that the ice in his water was melting too quickly. He sent back a perfectly cooked appetizer, claiming it was a degree too cold. Through it all, Maya remained unflappable. "Of course, sir. I'll have that replaced for you immediately," she would say with a calm, professional demeanor. Mr. Chen watched this exchange in silence. He didn't comment on Vance's behavior. He simply observed, his gaze shifting from the arrogant CEO to the dignified waitress. Vance, misinterpreting this silence as admiration, grew bolder. He wanted to show Mr. Chen that he was a man who was in control, a man who commanded respect and settled for nothing less than perfection. The main course arrived. As Maya carefully placed the plate in front of him, Vance's hand, gesturing wildly as he told a story, bumped her arm. A single drop of sauce, no bigger than a teardrop, landed on the pristine white cuff of his shirt. The room fell silent. Vance stopped talking mid-sentence. He looked down at the tiny speck on his cuff as if it were a fatal wound. Maya immediately began to apologize. "Sir, I am so sorry. It was an accident." Vance cut her off. His face, once a mask of charming bravado, had twisted into a sneer of pure contempt. He looked at her, his voice low and dripping with venom. "Accident? Or incompetence?" he hissed. He then looked over at Mr. Chen, as if to say, "Watch how I handle this." He turned his glare back to Maya, who stood frozen, mortified. "You know," Vance said, his voice rising, "I'm in the middle of a multi-million-dollar conversation, and I can't even get competent service. Do you have any idea who I am?" Maya remained silent, her professionalism a shield against his attack. This only enraged Vance further. He wanted her to crumble. He wanted her to cry. He leaned in, and in a voice loud enough for the entire room to hear, he spat the word that would seal his fate. "You are just a stupid little girl. Now get out of my sight before you contaminate anything else." The word stupid hung in the air, heavy and ugly. The smile was gone from Maya's face, replaced by a look of profound hurt, but her back remained straight. Her dignity was bruised, but not broken. Music swells and then cuts abruptly. Middle hook. What happened next would not only decide the fate of the $200 million deal, but would also change 3 lives forever. Stay with us to find out how a simple act of decency, or the lack thereof, can have explosive consequences. Vance, satisfied with his display of dominance, let out a short, triumphant laugh and turned back to Mr. Chen. "Apologies for that interruption," he said smoothly. "You just can't find good help these days." But Mr. Chen wasn't looking at him. His gaze was fixed on Maya. After a long moment of deafening silence, he slowly folded his napkin and placed it on the table. He then did something Vance never expected. He stood up and addressed Maya directly. "Miss," he said, his voice calm but firm, "I would like to apologize for my associate's deplorable behavior. There is no excuse for such disrespect." He then turned to a stunned Arthur Vance. The serene patience was gone from Mr. Chen's eyes. In its place was a glint of steel. "Mr. Vance," he said, his voice level, "for many months I have evaluated your company's financials, your market strategy, and your growth potential. They are all, on paper, impressive. But I have one rule in business: I never partner with a man I do not respect." Vance's face went pale. "Mr. Chen, it was just a waitress, a misunderstanding." "No," Mr. Chen interrupted. "It was a window into your character. A man who punches down, who finds it necessary to degrade someone he sees as beneath him to feel powerful, that man is a liability. His foundation is rotten." He paused, letting the words sink in. "How you treat people when you think no one of consequence is watching, that is your true measure. You have failed the test. The deal is off. My lawyers will be in touch." With that, Mr. Chen gave a respectful nod to Maya, turned, and walked out of the restaurant, leaving Arthur Vance standing amidst the ruins of his $200 million dream. Vance collapsed into his chair, the color drained from his face. The cost of his arrogance was suddenly, terrifyingly clear. He hadn't just lost a deal, he had publicly detonated his reputation. The news would spread like wildfire. But the story doesn't end there. As Maya was quietly clearing the table, trying to process what had just happened, the restaurant manager approached her. Mr. Chen had left a message. He had not only paid for the entire meal but had also left his business card for her. On the back was a handwritten note: "Your composure and professionalism under pressure were more impressive than any business pitch I've heard this year. When you finish your law degree, call me. I believe in investing in people with true character." In one evening, Arthur Vance lost a fortune because he thought character was worthless. And in that same evening, Maya, the stupid waitress, gained an opportunity of a lifetime because she proved that character is priceless. And that's the story of the $200 million insult. It's a powerful reminder that true wealth isn't just in your bank account, but in your character. What did you think of Mr. Chen's decision? Was it justified? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another story of justice and consequence. Thanks for watching.